Hello, I am Mac, at least for day, and everything's going to be okay. In this video, we're back to Fear and Hunger. In my previous two videos, I showed and explained what a new god and old god are in the Fear and Hunger universe. In this video, we're going to be fighting an ascended god. Now, an ascended god is basically a person who, well, I'll go deeper into my theories of what it actually means after the battle, if you want to stay for all that theory crafting. But it's basically a person who becomes a reincarnation of an old god. So basically all the powers and being of an old god is put into a person, and they kind of become a, not really the same god, but kind of a, I'm trying to avoid saying new god because the new god is a different thing, but they become a new creation, a totally new type of god. It shares some similarities with the powers of the old god that came before, and also some of the traits of the human that ascended to godhood, basically. Now, this has only happened twice in the Fear and Hunger universe. It's a very rare occurrence. Normally, you just get a new god, a person that gets some of the powers of an old god, and it doesn't work very well. They're not very good for human society. But there's a previous ascended god that happened before the Fear and Hunger game called Almer. Almer is basically this universe's version of Jesus Christ, but he has a lot of differences from Jesus Christ as well. I'll go into all that after the battle, but yeah, basically there's Almer, and then we're going to be witnessing the ascension of the second ascended god to ever be created in the Fear and Hunger universe, and we'll talk about it more later. But anyway, let's get into the game. So we have most of the same characters I've had in the previous videos: the thief mercenary guy, the barbarian, and the armored knight lady. But now we have this girl. So I got rid of Anki. I had to find some way to get rid of him, and then I could get this girl into my group because she is someone very special. She is the daughter of Lagard, the new god that we fought in my first Fear and Hunger video, and also the daughter of a different new god called Nilvan. And honestly, it's hard to even find that out. The lore about how the girl came to be is very hidden in the game. Like, people had to really dig to find that information out. And we honestly don't know completely exactly how it all happened, but we find this girl locked in a cage in the Dungeon of Fear and Hunger, and if you bring her here to the Heart of Darkness, same place I fought Grogroth in my previous video, something different happens when you take her to the Heart of Darkness. The girl is looking at the darkness. You cannot see anything in there. Careful, don't be so close to the edge. The girl gives you a reassuring smile. Something is happening, something that exceeds your understanding. A chill runs down your spine and you feel like throwing up, but the girl seems to remain awfully calm. In fact, the source of the terror seems to radiate from her. The girl is rolling around, seemingly in pain. All right, I'm going to Blood Golem, because we lost her because she's now our enemy. I'm going to use Blood Golem on myself. I'm going to have Roggenwalder guard. Have her use fast attack. I don't want to attack the girl, so I'm just guarding for now. But she won't stay the girl forever. Something is happening to the girl. She is rolling on the ground even more furiously. can feel an entirely new presence in the darkness. The god of fear and hunger is born. All right, now we will attack. Something is happening to the god. She seems to be in grueling pain and twitching from cold. The god of fear and hunger has taken a new shape. The god, formerly the little girl, seems to reminisce about the dagger that's laying on the ground. I found and gave her a dagger. That's one of 2 items you can give the girl that help make this battle easier. The god, formerly the little girl, seems to reminisce about the peculiar doll that is still laying on the ground. So that prevented her from attacking at all. I don't know what happens if you don't get the items. Maybe this form of her has some really bad attacks that would have messed us up. But regardless, we don't have to worry about those attacks. Something is happening to the god. She seems to be in grueling pain and twitching from cold. This is the coolest form. Everybody likes this form best, I think. The god of fear and hunger has taken a new shape. It's kind of cool how she has no belly, which I guess kind of represents the hunger aspect of her. Yikes. Better heal myself. Something's happened to the god, same thing as before. Now she's in her true form. The god of fear and hunger has taken a new shape. Alright, I'm gonna use a light blue vial on myself. We'll just keep attacking. Self-mutilation. Uh-oh. I saved a lucky coin. No! Oh my gosh, that was so unlucky. Oh no, I think that means that she's gonna only attack me now. I'm gonna try guarding to see if that keeps her from killing me. Last time that happened to me when I did this battle before. Oh, that's strange. She didn't attack me. Weird. Hopefully she's not gonna like insta-kill me in a little bit because she did that. Alright, so far so good. Dragon Balder is on fire. Put out his fire. Uh-oh. Oh no, not again. Oh, this one doesn't insta-kill me. Okay, good. I don't get what that does, 'cause she did it to me earlier. I failed my coin toss, but I'm gonna make Darce heal herself. I'll use the potion of elixir of body. Man, how much health does this thing have? There we go. Kahara's party was victorious. The god of fear and hunger acknowledges your suffering. And we die. This is the bottom. This is floor 10, the final floor. Why do you resist? Final floor, the dungeons of fear and hunger. The thought must have crossed your mind at some point. We've lost all our limbs. The thought that you delved too deep. The thought that this would be a one-way trip. So instead of fighting the inevitable, why not embrace it? Just lay down and rest. There is beauty in this darkness that can be harnessed and used to usher something new. You never escaped the dungeons. Your efforts would go unsung, but your part in the greater scheme of things was vital nonetheless. You had a vital part in the birth of a new god. One that is not a mere new god, but one that rivals the older ones. You had the first-hand experience of witnessing the coming paradigm shift the world is to go through in the new era. An era of the newborn god, the god of fear and hunger. They'll come to know this day as the cruel age. An age where a human-born god would finally rise after millennia of mankind's struggle as the feeble new gods. Maybe your fate was an act out of mercy, the last traces of compassion the newborn god shed after her true ascension. Your demise was peaceful after all. Ending A, the god of fear and hunger. Nice. Thank you, Miro, for making this incredible game. All right, so once again, I'm going to do some of my theory crafting about fear and hunger. So like I said, ascendant gods are gods, and as you witnessed in that battle, they're a human, a very special human who basically absorbs all the power of an old god. The god that the little girl absorbed was the god of the depths. It doesn't really tell you that, but in the sequel, Fear and Hunger Termina, there's a symbol for the god of fear and hunger, and it resembles the symbol for the god of the depths. Also, the place that we were in, the Heart of Darkness, it's inside the body of the god of the depths. As you're playing the game, you find these certain intestinal growths, and if you kill them, there's a total of 3 of them. If you kill all 3, it kills the god of the depths. And then this other place, its mouth opens, and that's what lets you into the gauntlet and the Heart of Darkness that we were in there. So basically, we killed the god of the depths, and all of its power was basically poured into the girl, and she became reborn as the god of fear and hunger. Like I said, the other god, the other ascended god in the fear and hunger universe is Almer. They started as this great teacher that went around teaching love and everything to everybody and had 12 apostles. So the story sounds exactly like Jesus. But then when the sultans of the lands found out about Almer, they had him crucified. And then Almer was resurrected. But when he was resurrected, rather than like Jesus, who just went into the heavens and a peaceful, well, somewhat peaceful religion started because of him, Almer resurrected as like a terrible warlord who went and killed all of the sultans and established a new world order and everything, which is actually what the prophecies about Jesus Christ said that he was going to do, that he didn't. But I won't go too deep into the theories about that. But first of all, we don't know for sure what god Almer was reborn as. There's one theory online. Malduke did a really good video about it, that Almer is the reincarnation of the sun god, but there's not a lot of evidence for that. It is possible, but the other possibility is I think Almer may have been the reincarnation of Grogroth, the god, the old god of destruction, who we fought in my previous video. The reason I think that is because several reasons. When you enter the gauntlet for that area we were in, it tells you that you smell a strong smell of sulfur. It says that a couple times, I think. And later, I shouldn't give out too many spoils for Fear and Hunger Termina. I'm going to do a video about that later. But okay, for now, we'll just say that my theory is that Grogroth was reborn in Almer, and that's why Almer was reborn as a wrathful, vengeful god and killed all the sultans and reestablished the old world order of worshiping the old gods. And that's how the current medieval era in Fear and Hunger was established. Now, like I said, the girl was reborn as the god of Fear and Hunger by taking on all the powers of the god of the depths. And as I said in my previous video, the god of the depths is basically the god of decay and rot and stagnation. What I think, and again, this is drawing from knowledge from the sequel, but I believe that because the god of the depths still existed, the world was in a state of stagnancy. The Middle Ages had basically lasted for 1500 years, and there were kings and they ruled over the people, and people weren't doing well. Basically, things were stagnating. The kings had decadent lives and the people were rotting and dying. And so I think when an ascendant god is born, they don't totally have, like I said, they're not exactly the same as the old god that they were reborn from. They're a mixture of the old god and the human. That's why in some ways Almer was good for mankind. He didn't come to just kill everyone. He was a god of wrath and vengeance. He killed the sultans and established a new world order, but he wasn't pure destruction like Grogroth. The god of Fear and Hunger is kind of flips the god of decay and turns it into a god of fear and hunger, which are better than decay and stagnation. Fear and hunger, and the sequel hints at this, is that fear is helpful to people. Having a fear of like a common enemy can help people to rise up and band together in order to defeat the things that they are afraid of. So if a lot of people are afraid of things, they'll work together to overcome them. Hunger, as we know in our world, hunger can cause revolutions. As soon as the populace becomes hungry, like in the French Revolution and all kinds of other uprisings where the common people are hungry, they're starving to death, and so they end up rising up against the kings and such. So a god of fear and hunger brought a paradigm shift to the world, helped people rise up and overcome the kings and monarchies and aristocracies and establish another new world order. Because in the sequel, Fear and Hunger Termina, the world is basically the way it is. Well, it's basically like the world of the 1940s, where technology has advanced, the Industrial Revolution is happening, and the human race have, undergone all kinds of advancements. So the god of fear and hunger obviously had a positive effect on the world. Even though fear and hunger are negative emotions, they're still what was best. Having new gods that were trying to establish a paradise was bad. It made things worse. It was just feeding the stagnancy, because if you make people happy and comfortable, nothing ever changes and they just become lazy and things don't progress. So for the god of the depths, the god of decay, to die and be reborn as a god of fear and hunger, it was a good thing for the world. Now, what happened to the girl? Like I said, I think it's a fusion of the two of them. For those of you that play Fear and Hunger, it's similar to the marriage. I won't go into into what the marriage is, but it's basically two people do a fusion dance and they fuse into a single being. Their souls become one and their bodies become one. And they can become actually a stronger, better person that has all the abilities of each other. So basically, when a god ascends, an ascended god, they become a fusion of the human and the god, and they can be better even though they share some of the same traits as before. And since it's a little girl that, I mean, she had a pretty horrible life. She was locked in the dungeons of fear and hunger, but I think she still has some compassion and love towards the human race because she's just an innocent girl. And so she had a positive effect on the reincarnation of the god of the depths into something that was beneficial to mankind. Other than that, there was something else I was going to say. I forgot it now, but yeah. So I think it's really, really cool, a really cool concept of old gods being reincarnated and fusing with a human. Oh yeah, I was gonna go over how the girl came into being, but I kind of explained it earlier. Basically, in order for an ascended god to happen, they have to be a virgin mother, the daughter of a virgin mother, and a false god, which doesn't really make sense. Like I said, we don't really know. We know that Lagard and Nilvan, both of them are basically new gods, but Lagard wasn't a new god when the girl was conceived. But yeah, it's kind of mysterious. We don't know how it works exactly, but somehow the union of two new gods produced a person capable of becoming an ascended god. Almer is even more mysterious because there's legends that he was created by some mysterious god called Petruvia and everything. But that's the thing about Fear and Hunger, is that, you know, none of the lore is clear cut. A lot of it you have to figure out from environmental storytelling and small clues. And also there's like differing but there will be like two books of different editions that will have different accounts of how things actually happened. So you really don't know for sure. But anyway, that's enough rambling, I think. But I really like that concept of an old god being reborn in a human and becoming something that's more beneficial to mankind. But anyway, yeah, that's about it. That was ending A of Fear and Hunger, and that's probably going to be my last Fear and Hunger video unless I'm able to get to the other old god that you can fight, Sylvian, the god of creation. The problem with that one is that you can only fight it in the harder mode. I've been playing in normal mode, which is called Fear and Hunger mode. The next harder mode is Terror and Starvation, which if you play that, then you can fight the old god of creation, Sylvian. Oh yeah, the other reason I think that Almer is the reincarnation of Grogroth is that when you fight the Enlightened one of the questions he can ask is, well, in a question, he refers to Grogroth as the original god of destruction. So that implies that there was a new god of destruction. That's the reason I really think that Almer was the reincarnation of Grogroth, the god of destruction, because the Enlightened One referred to Grogroth as the original god of destruction. So I think Almer was actually an ascended god of destruction that was partly Grogroth and partly Ulmer, the kind, loving human. So he ended up just being a god of wrath and vengeance rather than total destruction. And Ulmer eventually died as well. So Grogroth kind of went back to being a dead god as well as Ulmer. So that's why Grogroth, the remnants of Grogroth still exist, even though he was reborn in Ulmer. If my theory is correct. Like I said, Maldug thinks that Ulmer was the reincarnation of the sun god. But anyway, that's about enough of that. Thanks for watching this video in Fear and Hunger. I won't do another one about this game unless I am able to get through Terror and Starvation and fight Sylvian. Then I'll do a video about that. But other than that, I will probably play Fear and Hunger 2 Termina later. But enough about that. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I've been Mac. Thank you for joining me for a day. And remember, everything's going to be okay.